Today we stand on the brink of restoration. Maybe this past year hasn't gone the way you hoped, and you may feel like time has been wasted. But I'm here to tell you that God is about to restore what seemed lost. And here are 7 powerful signs that He is moving in your life. Sometimes we find ourselves in seasons where nothing seems to be going right. It feels like everything we've worked for, all the time we've invested, is unraveling, leaving us with little more than frustration and a sense of loss. The year feels wasted, and we wonder if there's any way to redeem the time. But in the middle of this turmoil, you start to sense something deeper. There's a feeling inside you that you can't quite explain, a stirring in your spirit. It's subtle at first, but it grows stronger, gently reminding you that God isn't finished with you yet. This stirring, though often quiet, is one of the most powerful signs that God is about to restore everything you thought was lost. The stirring begins when you least expect it. It might come during a moment of prayer or reflection, or even while you're going about your everyday life. Out of nowhere, you feel a shift in your heart. It's as though something inside you is waking up. The best way to describe it is like a soft nudge from God, prompting you to pay attention, to listen closely. You realize that there's something more for you, that your story isn't over. This sensation, this stirring, is a signal that God is working behind the scenes, preparing to restore what has been broken or lost. This stirring is often accompanied by a deep sense of restlessness. It's not the kind of restlessness that leads to anxiety or impatience, rather. It's a holy restlessness that compels you to seek more, to press into God with greater intensity. You may find yourself dissatisfied with the things that once seemed fulfilling, as if your spirit is rejecting anything that doesn't align with where God is taking you next. This discomfort is not something to be feared or avoided, but rather embraced. It's a divine signal that transformation is near. At first, you might question this feeling. You wonder if it's just your imagination, or perhaps wishful thinking. But as time goes on, you realize that this stirring is persistent. It doesn't fade. It's not a fleeting emotion or a passing thought. It's a continuous prompting, an undercurrent of conviction that keeps calling you back to the truth that God has a plan for your life. This is not merely optimism. It's a deep spiritual awareness that God is getting ready to move in a profound way. One of the most amazing things about this stirring is that it often comes when everything around you seems to be falling apart. You may be facing challenges in your relationships, finances, or health. On the surface, there may be no visible signs of change or improvement, but internally, God is doing something new. This stirring in your spirit is a reminder that God is not limited by your circumstances. Even when life feels like it's unraveling, He is weaving together a greater plan. What looks like a setback is often the setup for a comeback. As this stirring grows, it starts to bring clarity to areas of your life that have been confusing or uncertain. You begin to see things with fresh eyes. It's almost like a veil is being lifted, allowing you to discern God's hand in your situation. This doesn't mean that all your questions will be answered at once, but it does mean that you start to sense a new direction. It's as if God is giving you a glimpse of what's to come. He is aligning your heart with His will, and in doing so, He is preparing you for the restoration that's on its way. One of the key ways to nurture this stirring is through prayer. When you feel that nudge in your spirit, it's crucial to take it to God in prayer, asking Him to reveal more of what He's doing. Prayer becomes not just a time of asking for things, but a time of aligning your heart with God's heart. You begin to listen more intently for His voice and direction. In these moments of communion with God, the stirring in your spirit becomes even more pronounced. You sense that God is speaking directly to you, reassuring you that He has not forgotten you, and that the wasted year will soon be a distant memory. As you lean into this stirring, you may also start to experience moments of divine inspiration. Ideas that seemed far-fetched or impossible now seem attainable. Dreams that you had once given up on begin to resurface, and this time they carry with them a sense of purpose and urgency. It's as if God is breathing new life into old hopes, reviving desires that you had long buried. This is not by accident. When God stirs your spirit, He often awakens the dreams and visions that are part of His greater plan for your life. What felt impossible before suddenly feels within reach, because you realize that it's not by your power, but by His that it will come to pass. In addition to personal inspiration, the stirring in your spirit may lead you to seek out community. You might find yourself drawn to people who share your faith and can encourage you in this season of restoration. God often uses others to confirm what He's doing in your life. A simple conversation with a friend, a message from a pastor, or even an unexpected encounter can serve as a confirmation that God is indeed moving. Surrounding yourself with people of faith helps strengthen the stirring in your spirit and keeps you focused on God's promises. As this stirring deepens, you may also notice a shift in your attitude and perspective. Where you once felt hopeless or discouraged, there is now a quiet confidence that God is in control. This doesn't mean that all your problems are solved, but it does mean that you are no longer defined by them. You start to see your struggles as temporary, and your focus shifts from what you've lost to what God is about to restore. This is a critical moment, because it's in this shift of perspective that you begin to align yourself with God's timing. You stop striving in your own strength and start trusting that God's plan is unfolding exactly as it should. As the stirring in your spirit grows, it becomes a powerful motivator. You begin to take steps of faith, even when the path ahead is unclear. You might not know exactly how God is going to restore your wasted year, but you know that He will. This conviction gives you the courage to keep moving forward, even when it feels like progress is slow. You become more resilient, more hopeful, and more determined to hold on to God's promises. This stirring in your spirit is a sign that God is preparing you for something greater. It's a reminder that He hasn't forgotten you, that He sees every tear, every frustration, and every loss. And He's not just going to restore what was lost, He's going to bring you into a season of abundance. When God restores, He doesn't just give you back He multiplies it. He turns your pain into purpose, your trials into triumphs, and your wasted year into a season of divine breakthrough. There's something incredibly powerful about a closed door. It represents a missed opportunity, a dream deferred, or even a period of waiting and uncertainty. When you encounter closed doors in your life, it can be disheartening. You might feel like you've been working hard, praying, and doing everything in your power, yet nothing seems to open. You knock, you push, but the door remains firmly shut. It's frustrating, even painful, when opportunities seem out of reach, when everything you've hoped for feels distant or unattainable. But here's the truth. Closed doors are often a sign that God is about to do something greater. They are a signal that His timing is at work, and that when the right moment comes, those closed doors will swing open in ways you never imagined. A closed door is not a rejection from God, it's a redirection. Many times we see a closed door and immediately assume that it's a sign we've failed, or that what we desire is not in God's plan. But closed doors often mean that God is preparing something better for us. Sometimes we knock on the wrong doors, trying to force our way into opportunities that aren't aligned with God's purpose for our lives. And other times, we are simply not ready to walk through those doors. And God, in His infinite wisdom, keeps them shut until we are fully prepared to handle what's on the other side. When you understand that a closed door is not the end, but the beginning of something new, it changes how you view your situation. Imagine standing in front of a door that has been closed for what seems like forever. You've tried everything, but no matter how hard you push, it doesn't budge. You start to question whether it will ever open, but then one day something shifts. The door that was once immovable begins to open effortlessly. You didn't need to force it. It opened at the right time, in the right way. This is how God works. When His timing aligns with His plan for your life, doors that once seemed locked will open with ease. This isn't a matter of luck or coincidence. It's the result of divine intervention. The key to understanding closed doors is recognizing that God's timing is perfect. We live in a world that thrives on instant gratification. We want everything now. We pray and expect immediate answers. We work hard and expect instant results. But God operates on a different timeline. His perspective is eternal, and He sees the bigger picture that we often cannot. When a door remains closed, it's usually because God is orchestrating something behind the scenes. He's preparing the way, ensuring that everything is aligned so that when the door does open, you will be ready to walk through it and succeed. What might look like a delay is actually divine preparation. When God begins to open closed doors in your life, it often happens in ways you least expect. You might have your eyes set on one opportunity and suddenly a completely different door opens. This can be confusing at first because it doesn't align with what you had planned. But God's plans are always better than our own. The door He opens may lead you down a path you never considered, one that brings greater blessings, more fulfillment, and deeper purpose. It's important to remain flexible and open to God's leading. When a door opens that you weren't expecting, trust that it's part of His perfect plan. Sometimes the doors that open are ones we had forgotten about. Maybe there was a dream or an opportunity you pursued years ago, but the door was firmly shut. You moved on thinking it wasn't meant to be. But then in God's perfect timing, that very door reopens. You are given another chance, a new opportunity to step into something you once thought was lost. This is a powerful reminder that God never forgets the desires of our hearts. When we align ourselves with Him and trust His process, He has a way of bringing things full circle. The closed door of yesterday becomes the open door of today, and it happens when we are truly ready to embrace it. As doors begin to open in your life, you may also notice that the obstacles which once seemed insurmountable are no longer in your way. This is a clear sign that God is at work. When doors are closed, it's often because there are obstacles on the other side that need to be removed. God in His wisdom clears the path so that when the door opens, you can walk through without hindrance. These obstacles might be external, such as financial limitations, relationship challenges, or other practical issues. Or they could be internal, such as fear, doubt, or a lack of faith. Whatever the obstacles, God is working to remove them so that when the door opens, you can walk through confidently knowing that He has cleared the way. One of the most beautiful aspects of God opening doors is that it often leads to a season of abundance and overflow. When God opens a door, it's not just for a single blessing or a small opportunity. It's often the beginning of a season where multiple doors open, where blessings flow in ways you never expected. One open door leads to another, and before you know it, you're walking in a season of favor. This is why it's so important to remain patient and trust the process. The door that opens may be the first of many, and God's blessings often come in waves, each one building on the last. As you walk through the doors that God opens, it's important to remember that these opportunities are not just for your benefit. God opens doors not only to bless you, but to position you to be a blessing to others. When you walk through an open door, consider how you can use the opportunity to serve others, to lift them up, and to extend God's love and grace to those around you. This is how we become co-laborers with God in His kingdom. Every open door is a chance to glorify Him and to advance His purposes on the earth. When God opens doors, it's a reminder of His faithfulness. There may have been times when you doubted, when you wondered if God had forgotten about you. But when the door opens, it's clear that He was with you all along. His timing may not have been what you expected, but it was exactly right. The open door is a testament to God's goodness, His perfect timing, and His unfailing love. It's a reminder that He is always working, even when you can't see it. There are moments in life when it feels like things are coming together in a way that is beyond coincidence. You meet the right person at the right time, hear exactly what you need to hear, or experience a breakthrough that you couldn't have orchestrated on your own. These moments where things just seem to align perfectly are often divine connections orchestrated by God. They happen when He is preparing to restore what has been lost, or to guide you into a new season of blessing. Divine connections are not random. They are purposeful, intentional, and a clear indication that God is moving behind the scenes in your life. When God is about to restore your wasted year, He often begins by bringing people into your life who are part of His plan for your next chapter. These divine connections are people who will help you grow, challenge you in positive ways, and open doors you couldn't have opened on your own. They may be mentors, friends, or even strangers who speak a word of encouragement or wisdom at just the right moment. What makes these connections so powerful is that they are God-ordained. These people are placed in your path not by chance, but by divine design. Sometimes these connections may come in ways you don't expect. You may be going through a difficult time, feeling isolated or discouraged, when suddenly someone steps into your life and offers exactly what you need. It could be a word of advice, a helping hand, or even just a listening ear. This is not mere coincidence. It's God sending the right person at the right time to remind you that you are not alone, that He is still in control, and that He is working to restore what you thought was lost. These divine connections often come when you are at your lowest, serving as a reminder that God sees you and cares deeply about your situation. Divine connections also serve as catalysts for growth. When God brings people into your life, it's often because they have something to offer that will help you move forward. It could be their experience, their wisdom, or their support. These connections challenge you to think differently, to step outside of your comfort zone, and to embrace new possibilities. They may even help you see things from a perspective you hadn't considered before. In doing so, they help prepare you for the next season of your life. God uses these people to sharpen you, to refine your character, and to equip you for what lies ahead. One of the most beautiful aspects of divine connections is that they are mutually beneficial. Just as these people come into your life to bless you, you also have something to offer them. God creates relationships that are built on reciprocity, where both parties are strengthened and encouraged. You may not realize it at first, but your presence in their life is just as important as their presence in yours. This mutual exchange is part of God's plan to build strong, life-giving relationships that contribute to His greater purpose. Divine connections are also a key to unlocking new opportunities. Many times, the breakthrough you've been praying for comes through the people God brings into your life. It could be a business partnership, a job opportunity, or even an introduction to someone who has the resources or knowledge you need to take the next step. These connections act as divine conduits, channels through which God's blessings flow. What you couldn't do on your own suddenly becomes possible because of the doors these people help open. This is why it's so important to recognize and nurture the relationships that God brings into your life. However, divine connections aren't always easy to recognize at first. Sometimes, the people God brings into your life may not fit your expectations or preconceived notions. You might be looking for a connection in a specific area, but God brings someone into your life who seems completely unrelated to your situation. It's important to remain open and trust that God knows what He's doing. Often, the people who seem the least likely to be part of your journey end up playing a crucial role in your story. God sees the bigger picture, and He knows exactly who you need in your life at any given time. As these divine connections begin to unfold, you may also notice a sense of alignment. Suddenly, things that once felt scattered or out of sync begin to fall into place. You find that your conversations with these people bring clarity to areas where there was once confusion. They might offer insights or solutions that you hadn't considered. And through their guidance, you begin to see the path forward more clearly. This sense of alignment is a sign that God is orchestrating these relationships for a purpose. It's not just about friendship or networking. It's about God positioning you for the next phase of your life. Divine connections also require discernment. Not everyone who enters your life is sent by God, and it's important to seek His guidance in recognizing which relationships are divinely ordained. This is where prayer and spiritual discernment come into play. As you cultivate your relationship with God, He will give you the wisdom to discern which connections are from Him and which are not. This is crucial because not all connections are beneficial, and some may even serve as distractions or detours. By staying close to God, you will be able to recognize the divine connections He has orchestrated and avoid those that are not part of His plan. Once you've recognized these divine connections, it's important to steward them well. Relationships are a gift from God, and like any gift, they require care and attention. Make an effort to invest in these relationships to nurture them with love, kindness, and respect. Be intentional about spending time with the people God has placed in your life, and be open to learning from them. At the same time, be willing to offer your own support and encouragement. Divine connections thrive when both parties are committed to helping each other grow and succeed. Divine connections are a sign that God is actively working to restore your life. He doesn't just restore things. He restores through people. The relationships He brings into your life are part of His larger plan to heal, strengthen, and propel you into a new season of abundance and purpose. These connections are a tangible reminder that God is with you, that He is for you, and that He is working all things together for your good. Faith is a foundational part of the spiritual journey, and there are moments in life when it feels as though your faith is being tested in ways you could never have imagined. These times are often difficult and can leave you feeling uncertain, questioning why things are happening the way they are, or wondering if God is still present in your life. However, what we often fail to realize in the midst of these challenges is that these moments of testing are not meant to break us down, but to build us up. They are designed to strengthen our faith, purify our hearts, and prepare us for the blessings and breakthroughs that lie ahead. When you face trials and challenges, it's easy to feel like your faith is being put to the ultimate test. You may experience hardships, loss, disappointment, or a prolonged season of waiting that makes you wonder if God has forgotten about you. These trials, though painful, are not meant to crush your spirit. They are meant to refine your faith like gold being purified in the fire. Each test is an opportunity to grow deeper in your trust in God and to rely on Him more fully. It is through these trials that your faith is strengthened and made resilient. One of the most significant aspects of faith is trust in God's plan, trust in His timing, and trust in His goodness. But trusting God is often easier said than done, especially when life throws unexpected challenges your way. It's in these moments of uncertainty that your faith is truly tested. Will you continue to believe in God's promises even when circumstances suggest otherwise? Will you hold on to His word even when everything around you seems to be falling apart? These are the questions that arise when your faith is being tested, and how you answer them determines whether your faith will grow stronger or weaker. When your faith is being tested, it can feel like a period of darkness. You might not understand why certain things are happening, and it's easy to feel confused or even abandoned. Yet it is in these very moments of uncertainty that God is closest. He may seem silent, but He is present, watching how you respond to the trials. Your faith is being stretched, but this stretching is necessary for growth. Just like a muscle that is strengthened through resistance, your faith grows stronger as you endure the challenges that life throws your way. It may feel uncomfortable in the moment, but the outcome is a faith that is more robust and resilient than before. The Bible is filled with stories of individuals whose faith was tested, and through their trials, they emerged stronger in their relationship with God. Take the story of Job, for example. Job experienced unimaginable loss and suffering. He lost his wealth, his health, and his family. Yet, despite all of this, Job refused to curse God. He questioned, he grieved, but he did not lose his faith. In the end, God restored everything Job had lost and more. Job's faith was tested, but through the testing it was strengthened. His story reminds us that trials are temporary, but the strength we gain from enduring them lasts forever. Another example is Abraham, whose faith was tested when God asked him to sacrifice his son Isaac. This test was not just about obedience, it was about trust. Abraham trusted God's promise, even when it seemed like everything was going against that promise. He believed that God would provide, and indeed God did. Abraham's faith was strengthened through this test, and as a result, he became the father of many nations. His story shows us that faith requires not only belief, but action trusting God enough to follow Him, even when it doesn't make sense. When your faith is tested, you might experience a sense of waiting. You've prayed, you've believed, but the answer hasn't come yet. This waiting period can feel agonizing, but it's an essential part of the testing process. In the waiting, your faith is refined. It's in the waiting that you learn patience, endurance, and perseverance. These are qualities that not only strengthen your faith, but also prepare you for the blessings that are coming. Waiting teaches you to trust in God's timing, knowing that He is never late and that His plans for you are always good. One of the most challenging aspects of having your faith tested is the temptation to give up. When things aren't going as planned, or when the answers to your prayers seem delayed, it's easy to feel discouraged. Doubts begin to creep in, and you may start to wonder if it's even worth holding on to your faith. But it's in these moments of doubt that you must dig deeper and cling to the promises of God. The enemy will try to use these moments of weakness to plant seeds of fear and discouragement. But if you remain steadfast, your faith will grow even stronger. God allows these tests of faith not to harm you, but to prepare you for greater things. Often the testing comes right before a significant breakthrough. Just when you feel like you've reached the end of your rope, that's when God shows up in ways you could never have anticipated. The testing of your faith produces perseverance, and that perseverance leads to maturity. Each trial you face is an opportunity to become more grounded in your faith and to draw closer to God. It's an invitation to trust Him more fully, even when you don't understand what He's doing. During these times of testing, it's essential to stay connected to God through prayer and His Word. The Bible offers countless examples of individuals who faced trials and came out stronger on the other side. Reading these stories can provide encouragement and remind you that you're not alone in your struggles. Prayer is your lifeline during these moments. It's through prayer that you pour out your heart to God, expressing your fears, doubts, and frustrations. But it's also through prayer that God strengthens you, offering peace and assurance that He is still in control. It's also important to surround yourself with a community of believers who can support you during these times. Faith was never meant to be lived out in isolation. When your faith is being tested, having people who can encourage you, pray with you, and remind you of God's promises can make all the difference. These are the people who will stand with you in faith when you're struggling to hold on, and they will celebrate with you when the breakthrough comes. As your faith is being tested, it's crucial to remember that God is faithful. He has not brought you this far to abandon you now. The very fact that your faith is being tested means that God is preparing you for something greater. He sees your potential, and He is using these trials to shape you into the person He created you to be. Every test is an opportunity for growth, and every challenge is a chance to become more like Christ. When God is about to restore your wasted year, one of the most powerful signs is the birth of a fresh vision in your heart. This new vision is often marked by a sense of clarity, purpose, and direction that you may not have felt in a long time. After a season of feeling stuck or lost, the sudden emergence of a new dream, idea, or purpose is a clear indicator that God is at work, preparing you for something greater. The stirring of a fresh vision in your heart is His way of saying, "I'm not done with you yet." A fresh vision is often birthed out of the ashes of disappointment or failure. When you've experienced setbacks, lost opportunities, or prolonged periods of waiting, it's easy to feel like your dreams have withered away. But in these very moments, God begins to plant new seeds of hope. He breathes life into areas of your life that once seemed dead and forgotten. What once felt impossible begins to feel achievable again. This is the power of a fresh vision. It ignites your soul with hope and faith in what God can do. When God gives you a fresh vision, it's not just a random idea or fleeting desire. It's something that takes root deep within your heart, stirring you in ways that nothing else has. You feel energized and excited about the future, even if you don't have all the details figured out. This vision may be a new direction in your career, a ministry you feel called to start, or a creative project that has been placed on your heart. Whatever form it takes, it fills you with a renewed sense of purpose and determination. One of the most important aspects of receiving a fresh vision from God is recognizing that it's not just your own desires or ambitions. It's a God-given vision that aligns with His plans for your life. Often this vision will require you to step out in faith, to take bold actions, and to trust God in ways you haven't before. It's a call to move forward, even if you don't have all the answers yet. This fresh vision will challenge you, but it will also inspire you to become everything God created you to be. A fresh vision is accompanied by a deep sense of peace, even in the midst of uncertainty. You may not know how everything will unfold, but there's a quiet confidence in your heart that God is in control. This peace comes from knowing that the vision you've received is not something you have to accomplish on your own. God is with you, guiding you every step of the way. He is the one who will open doors, provide resources, and bring the right people into your life to help you fulfill this vision. As you begin to embrace this fresh vision, you may also notice that your desires and priorities start to shift. Things that once seemed important may no longer hold the same weight. Instead, your heart is drawn toward the things that align with the vision God has placed within you. This is a sign that God is not only giving you a fresh vision, but is also preparing your heart to receive it. He is aligning your will with His will, so that you can move forward with clarity and conviction. A fresh vision also brings with it a renewed sense of hope. After a season of feeling like nothing is happening, or that your efforts have been in vain, this new vision breathes life into your spirit. You begin to see possibilities where there once were none. What seemed like a wasted year suddenly becomes fertile ground for growth and new opportunities. This shift in perspective is crucial because it allows you to let go of the past and focus on the future with anticipation and excitement. Sometimes a fresh vision can be overwhelming. It may feel too big or too far out of reach. But remember, God never gives you a vision without also giving you the grace and strength to see it through. He doesn't expect you to accomplish it all in one day. Instead, He invites you to take it one step at a time, trusting that He will lead you every step of the way. The key is to stay connected to Him through prayer and His Word, seeking His guidance as you move forward. As this fresh vision unfolds, you will begin to notice that doors start to open. Opportunities that were once closed off begin to present themselves. People who can help you along your journey come into your life at just the right time. These are not coincidences. They are divine alignments. God is orchestrating everything behind the scenes, positioning you exactly where you need to be to fulfill the vision He has given you. It's important to remember that a fresh vision doesn't mean everything will be easy. There will still be challenges and obstacles along the way. But the difference is that now you have a clear sense of purpose. You know why you're doing what you're doing, and that makes all the difference. When difficulties arise, you can face them with courage because you know that God is leading you. The vision He has placed in your heart is worth fighting for. A fresh vision also requires patience and perseverance. Just because you have a clear vision doesn't mean everything will happen overnight. There will be seasons of preparation, times when it feels like things are moving slowly, or even moments of doubt. But during these times, it's essential to hold on to the vision and trust that God's timing is perfect. He is working behind the scenes, even when you can't see it. Another important aspect of a fresh vision is that it often involves helping others. God's visions are rarely just about us. They are about advancing His kingdom and blessing those around us. As you pursue the vision He has given you, you will find that it impacts not only your life, but also the lives of others. Whether it's through a ministry, a business, or a creative endeavor, the vision God gives you will be a source of blessing to those who come in contact with it. As you move forward with this fresh vision, stay open to God's leading. He may adjust or refine the vision as you go. Sometimes what starts as one idea evolves into something even greater than you could have imagined. Be flexible and willing to follow wherever He leads. The most important thing is to remain faithful to the vision He has placed in your heart, trusting that He will bring it to fruition in His perfect timing. When financial breakthroughs are on the horizon, it can feel like the dawn of a new season. After long periods of struggle, frustration, or uncertainty, you begin to sense that things are shifting in your favor. This sign is not merely about material wealth, but a deep understanding that God is opening doors and aligning opportunities to bring you out of lack and into a season of abundance. A financial breakthrough is often a tangible manifestation of God's provision, and it usually happens at a time when you need it the most, but least expected. The feeling that something is about to change, that your financial situation is on the brink of transformation, is a significant indicator that God is restoring what was lost or wasted in your life. One of the first signs of a financial breakthrough is a shift in your mindset. You begin to move from a mindset of scarcity to one of abundance. This change doesn't happen overnight, but gradually you start to see things differently. You realize that God is your ultimate provider, and that He is more than capable of meeting your needs. You stop focusing on what you lack and start trusting in God's ability to provide for you. This mental shift is crucial because it aligns your thoughts with God's promises of provision and abundance. When your mindset shifts, it's as if you're making room in your heart for the breakthrough that is about to come. Another sign of financial breakthroughs on the horizon is the appearance of unexpected opportunities. These can take many forms, such as a new job offer, a business idea, or even financial help from an unexpected source. These opportunities often come out of nowhere, surprising you with their timing and relevance to your situation. You might be struggling to make ends meet, and then suddenly, an opportunity appears that has the potential to change everything. These moments are not coincidences, they are orchestrated by God to lead you into a new season of financial blessing. During the lead-up to a financial breakthrough, you may also experience a period of testing. It's not uncommon to face challenges or setbacks right before a significant breakthrough. These tests are designed to strengthen your faith and deepen your trust in God's provision. You may be tempted to give up or question whether a breakthrough is even possible, but it's in these moments of trial that your faith is refined. God uses these times to prepare you for the blessing He's about to release in your life. It's as if He's saying, hold on just a little longer, your breakthrough is coming. Faith is a critical component of financial breakthroughs. God often requires us to take steps of faith before we see the full manifestation of His provision. This might mean sowing seeds of generosity, even when your own resources are limited. It could involve stepping out in obedience to pursue a new venture, trusting that God will provide the necessary resources along the way. Whatever form it takes, faith is the currency that activates financial breakthroughs. When you trust God with your finances, you're placing your situation in His hands, knowing that He is faithful to provide. Another key indicator of an impending financial breakthrough is the sense of peace that accompanies it. Even if your external circumstances haven't changed yet, there's a deep inner peace that comes from knowing that God is working behind the scenes. This peace surpasses understanding and gives you the confidence to keep moving forward. Even when the breakthrough hasn't fully materialized, you may still have bills to pay, or your financial situation may still seem dire. But you're no longer overwhelmed by worry or fear. Instead, you rest in the knowledge that God is your provider, and that His timing is perfect. As financial breakthroughs approach, it's common to see God's favor begin to manifest in your life in small but significant ways. You might receive unexpected discounts, gifts, or other forms of provision that reassure you that God is taking care of you. These small blessings serve as a reminder that God is faithful to meet your needs, and they encourage you to keep trusting Him for the larger breakthrough that is on the way. They are like breadcrumbs leading you toward the greater provision that God has in store for you. Sometimes a financial breakthrough is preceded by a call to stewardship. God may be preparing you for the breakthrough by teaching you how to manage your resources wisely. He may prompt you to create a budget, eliminate unnecessary expenses, or make wiser financial decisions. This season of preparation is not to be overlooked. It's part of the process of aligning you with God's provision. When you show yourself faithful with what you have, no matter how little, you open the door for God to entrust you with more. It's also important to recognize that financial breakthroughs are not solely for personal gain. When God blesses you financially, it's often so that you can be a blessing to others. The breakthrough is not just about accumulating wealth, but about using it for a greater purpose. Whether it's supporting a ministry, helping someone in need, or investing in the kingdom, God's financial blessings are meant to flow through you to impact the lives of others. As you become a conduit for God's blessings, you'll find that He continues to pour out more, knowing that you will use it for His glory. As you draw nearer to your financial breakthrough, you may also experience a deeper level of gratitude. Even before the breakthrough fully arrives, your heart is filled with thankfulness for what God has already done and what He is about to do. This attitude of gratitude is powerful because it shifts your focus away from lack and toward abundance. When you express gratitude, you acknowledge that God is the source of all your blessings, and this opens the door for even more provision. Gratitude creates an atmosphere of expectancy where you are ready to receive all that God has in store for you. Financial breakthroughs often bring a sense of purpose and direction. As God begins to restore your finances, you'll likely gain clarity on how to use these resources to fulfill His plan for your life. This breakthrough is not just about meeting your immediate needs, but about positioning you for long-term impact. God is not only concerned with your present situation, but with your future. The financial blessing that is on the horizon is part of His bigger plan to equip you for the work He has called you to do. When you are approaching a breakthrough or a season of restoration, one of the clearest signs that God is at work is a deep sense of peace that begins to settle within you. This peace is not something you can easily explain or point to in your circumstances, rather. It's an inner calm that defies external chaos or turmoil. It's the peace that God gives when He is about to bring something new into your life, and it serves as a quiet assurance that, despite the struggles or setbacks of the past year, His hand is guiding you towards restoration. This peace is different from the feeling comfort we sometimes feel when things temporarily seem to go well. It's not dependent on whether your circumstances have changed or whether you've received everything you've been waiting for. In fact, you may still be facing challenges, delays, or moments of uncertainty, yet this peace remains steady within you. This is the peace that Philippians 4:7 describes as the peace of God, which transcends all understanding. A peace that guards your heart and mind, even when everything around you seems unstable. One of the remarkable aspects of this peace is that it doesn't come from within ourselves, but is a direct gift from God. It's the kind of peace that only He can provide, often showing up when we've reached the end of our own strength or understanding. After a season of wrestling with worry, fear, or doubt, this peace feels like a quiet release. You may still have unanswered questions, but they no longer consume you. Instead, you rest in the knowledge that God is in control, and that His plans for your life are unfolding in His perfect timing. Often, this deep sense of peace arrives when we've finally surrendered our need to control the outcome. After trying everything in our power to make things happen, we reach a point where we hand our worries over to God and trust Him with the results. In doing so, we make room for His peace to enter our hearts. This act of surrender is key because it reflects our trust in God's sovereignty and goodness. We realize that no matter how hard we've tried to fix things on our own, it is ultimately God who holds our future. In moments of peace, there is a sense of stillness in your spirit. This doesn't mean that everything around you has stopped or that life has suddenly become easy, but there's a quiet confidence that replaces the anxiety you may have felt before. It's as though God is whispering to your soul, "I've got this." This peace allows you to rest both physically and mentally, knowing that you don't have to carry the burden alone. God's presence becomes more tangible to you in these moments, and His assurance fills the empty spaces that were once occupied by fear or doubt. This deep sense of peace also brings clarity. Often when we're stressed or overwhelmed, our thoughts become clouded, making it difficult to see the path forward. But when God's peace enters, it clears away the mental fog, allowing you to see things from a higher perspective. You begin to understand that the setbacks and delays you faced were not wasted. They were part of God's plan to prepare you for what's coming next. With this clarity, you can move forward with a sense of purpose, knowing that the obstacles you faced have strengthened you for the journey ahead. Another powerful aspect of this peace is that it transcends your circumstances. Even if nothing has changed on the outside, you experience a shift on the inside. The bills may still be unpaid, the relationships may still be unresolved, or the dreams may still seem distant, but the peace within you remains unwavering. This is because the source of this peace is not found in your circumstances, but in God Himself. He is the constant in a world that is ever-changing, and His peace anchors you in His promises. Even when the future feels uncertain, this peace is also a form of divine reassurance. It's as if God is gently reminding you that everything is working together for your good, even when it doesn't feel like it. You may have experienced loss, disappointment, or failure in the past year, but God's peace assures you that He is working behind the scenes to restore what was broken. It's a reminder that your story isn't over, and that God is weaving something beautiful out of the mess. This peace allows you to let go of the need to understand every detail of how things will work out, and simply trust that they will. In this season of peace, you may also notice that your priorities begin to shift. Things that once caused you stress or worry may no longer have the same hold on you. You start to focus on what truly matters: your relationship with God, your faith, and the promises He has made to you. This shift in focus brings an even deeper sense of peace, as you realize that many of the things you once worried about are not as important in the grand scheme of God's plan. This realignment of priorities helps you to live with greater intention and peace, knowing that you are walking in alignment with God's will. Additionally, this peace opens the door for gratitude. When your heart is at peace, it's easier to recognize the blessings in your life, even in the midst of difficult seasons. Instead of focusing on what's missing or what went wrong, you begin to see the ways in which God has been faithful, sustaining you through the challenges. This gratitude shifts to your perspective, allowing you to see that God's hand has been on your life all along, guiding you through the ups and downs. Gratitude and peace go hand in hand, reinforcing each other and creating a sense of wholeness in your spirit. As this peace continues to grow, it also equips you to be a source of peace for others. When you are filled with God's peace, it overflows into your relationships and interactions with those around you. You become a calming presence, someone who others can turn to in times of distress. This peace is not just for you. It's meant to be shared, to bring comfort and hope to those who are struggling. In this way, God uses your own experience of peace to bless others and to demonstrate His love and faithfulness to them. When God is about to restore a year that feels wasted, there are significant signs that can help you recognize His movement in your life. These signs are not random, nor are they subtle. They are clear indicators of God's divine orchestration, preparation, and blessing. Throughout this speech, we have explored these 7 powerful signs that reveal God's imminent restoration. offering hope and assurance that what seemed like a year of loss, setbacks, or delays is actually a stepping stone to a season of renewal and breakthrough. The stirring in your spirit is perhaps the most personal and intimate sign. It's when you begin to feel an undeniable sense that God is doing something new, even if you can't yet see it with your physical eyes. This stirring brings a sense of expectation and excitement, often prompting you to pray more, seek God's will more fervently, and take actions of faith, trusting that He is preparing the way. It's the internal prompting that reminds you God is not finished with you, and He is preparing you for something greater than what you've experienced before. The opening of closed doors is another clear sign that restoration is near. After what may have been a long season of waiting, struggling, or encountering obstacles, you suddenly find that opportunities are beginning to present themselves. What was previously blocked or inaccessible now becomes open. God orchestrates the timing of these open doors perfectly, allowing you to step into new opportunities with grace and favor. These doors may come in the form of a relationship's career advancements or personal breakthroughs, all aligned with God's purpose for your life. Divine connections are a powerful confirmation that God is positioning you for restoration. The people you meet during this season of restoration are not by accident. God places individuals in your life who help guide, support, and encourage you. These connections may come in the form of mentors, new friends, or even strangers who offer you opportunities or guidance. These relationships are divinely orchestrated to assist you in the next phase of your journey, helping you step into the restoration God has planned. Sometimes these people bring wisdom, resources, or opportunities that were out of reach in your previous season. As you move closer to God's restoration, your faith will be tested, but it will also be strengthened. Trials and challenges are a natural part of the process leading to restoration. These tests are not meant to break you, but to refine your faith, helping you to trust God more deeply. You may face moments of doubt or fear, but through each test, your faith is fortified and you come out stronger, more confident in God's promises. The testing of your faith is often a precursor to the blessings that God is about to pour out, teaching you perseverance and dependence on His strength, not your own. Another unmistakable sign of God's restoration is a fresh vision in your heart. You begin to see your life dreams and goals with renewed clarity and purpose. The dreams that you may have put on hold or forgotten during difficult times are rekindled. God places a new vision in your heart, showing you what is possible and giving you the courage to pursue it. This vision may be related to your career, relationships, or personal growth, but it is always aligned with God's greater purpose for your life. You find yourself energized and excited about the future, knowing that God is leading you towards something far greater than what you've left behind. Financial breakthroughs often accompany God's restoration, as we discussed. These breakthroughs are more than just an influx of money or resources. They are a sign that God is restoring your life holistically, providing for your material needs, as well as your spiritual and emotional well-being. These financial blessings may come in unexpected ways, such as new job opportunities, promotions, or even unexpected gifts or provisions. However, they are never just for your personal gain. God's financial blessings are meant to position you to be a blessing to others, to invest in His kingdom, and to support those around you. As you step into this season of financial provision, it is important to remember that God is using your resources as part of His greater plan. One of the most beautiful and telling signs of restoration is a deep sense of peace that fills your heart and mind. This peace is not dependent on external circumstances, but is a gift from God that transcends understanding. Even in the midst of challenges or uncertainties, you begin to experience a calm assurance that God is in control. This peace is a marker of God's presence and His promise that everything is working together for your good. It allows you to move forward without fear or anxiety, resting in the knowledge that God's timing is perfect and His plans are for your ultimate good. In this season of restoration, all these signs work together to reveal God's hand in your life. While it may have felt like a year of waste or loss, God is showing you that nothing is ever wasted in His economy. Every setback, delay, or failure has been used to prepare you for the blessings that are about to be released. You begin to understand that what you went through was not meant to destroy you, but to build you, strengthen your faith, and align you with God's perfect plan for your life. The trials were necessary to prepare you for the restoration that is now unfolding. It's important to remember that God's restoration is not just about returning you to where you were before. He is not interested in simply restoring the status quo. Instead, He is bringing you into something greater than what you had before, something more aligned with His purpose and glory. God's restoration is about advancement, growth, and elevation. It's about taking you from one level to the next, expanding your capacity to receive His blessings and to walk in His calling for your life. What may have seemed like a season of loss was actually a season of preparation. And now, as God restores what was lost, He is positioning you for greater things. The journey to restoration requires trust, faith, and patience. You may not see everything come to fruition immediately, but these signs serve as reminders that God is actively working behind the scenes. Each sign is a step closer to the fulfillment of His promises in your life. As you continue to trust in Him, stay faithful, and keep your eyes on the vision He has placed in your heart, you will begin to see the fruit of His restoration. The restoration of a wasted year is not just about regaining what was lost. It's about stepping into a new season of purpose, growth, and blessing. God is faithful to restore what was broken, to open doors that were once closed, and to bring divine connections into your life. He tests and strengthens your faith, gives you a fresh vision, provides financial breakthroughs, and fills you with peace. All of these are signs that God is turning what once seemed like a wasted year into a foundation for a brighter and more fulfilling future. Trust in His timing, embrace His process, and be ready to step into the fullness of His restoration. Silence.